Right guys, what do you do if your client comes to you and says, Harry, you've brought us in 3, 4, 5, 10 leads every day this month, but we've not converted a single one of them. Whose fault is it? Is it your fault? Is it their fault? And how you can go about what you need to implement moving forward to increase your client's conversion rate. And what I mean by conversion rate is how many of the leads that you actually bring in convert to paying customers, money in the bank, and an ROI on your investment with that client. So in this video, we're going to cover what the steps you can implement, actual strategies you can implement, scripts you can implement, and whose fault to kind of is, if it's anyone's fault per se. So for any beginners out there, this is a lead gen follow-up process. So if you're a social media marketing agency generating Facebook ad leads, YouTube ad leads, Snapchat, TikTok, any kind of paid advertisement leads, and what I mean by lead is a phone number, an email address, the name, a message for a particular product or service, such as a landscaper or a dentist or any of those lead gen services. And if you're also a beginner, we need to state that it's not your job to follow up these leads. And what I mean by follow up is a lead will come in, a potential customer will see a Facebook ad, a YouTube ad about landscapers. That landscaping customer will fill out their lead information. That will get automatically sent to the client, so they'll get a phone number, an email address, and all of the good stuff. And it's their job to contact that lead. Now, to get the highest conversion rate for your clients, you're going to need to basically make them phone call every single one of those leads. It's not acceptable to just email them. It's not acceptable to just text them, because you're not going to get people booked in that way. You need someone on the client's end, whether it's a receptionist, a member of their team, to give every single person a call, and multiple calls, which we're about to go into. So, like I said, this is a very strong reason and a valid reason for a client to stop working with you, because if they can't convert the leads that you're bringing in, then to them it's no different whether they're getting loads of leads or not, because they're not making any money from it. And put yourself in their shoes. If you were paying $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month to you plus your ad spend, you're not going to want to carry that on unless you're getting your money back. So what can you do to increase that conversion rate? So the first one is make sure they're ringing them. It's not cold calling. It's literally ringing a warm lead that they've claimed your offer. It's a real person. They're not dud leads. They're not fake leads if you're doing the advertising properly. So there are a lot of studies that have kind of happened, stuff that's been experimented with to see the difference in response time of a lead depending on the time after the lead came in that a person calls them. So say a lead comes in now. What's the percentage chance that they'll answer the phone if I ring them after 5 minutes? The answer's around 92%. Don't quote me on that percentage, but I'll throw up the graph from the experiment. So 92% if you call a lead within 5 minutes that they'll answer the phone. That's pretty good. And if they're good at sales, they'll know that the hardest part of anything is getting them on the phone to listen to what you have to say. And if they're good and they're a warm lead that you should be creating for your advertising campaigns, then they should convert from there. You've got a good conversion rate of bookings, consultations, quotes, or whatever it is. If you wait 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hours, or even up to a day, that percentage chance that they answer the phone drops down to 12%. So that is a huge difference between getting a lot of people booked in and making money from your services to not at all. So that's where you need to sit down with the client and say, right, I need you to pick up the phone within 5 minutes of a lead coming in. And a really nice example. So first-hand example of where I saw this like first-hand in play that this works is when I recently bought my car. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know what car I got. So check me out on Instagram, shameless plug. So I was, searching for a new car, and I filled in my information on 4 different websites. 3 of the websites, they didn't call me back until the next day. And I was out, one of them called me when I was eating, another one when I was just about to walk out the door, another one when I was about to get on a meeting with a client. So I didn't answer the phone because I wasn't sat down on my laptop looking at that, the car that I wanted to buy. And they were all the same cars, they were just with different dealers, different locations around the UK. And the final one was 6:30 p.m. On a Thursday. and I submitted my information to, just to speak to the owner of the dealership to just see, how we could go about getting me this car. And he rang me back literally 2.5 minutes later, and by the weekend I'd bought the car for thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds. So I can see firsthand the difference it makes when I get a call from someone that I've submitted my lead for, and they give me a call to talk me through the product and service I want to buy. And they got the business, and there was nothing different between the car that the other person had, the other dealerships, and the car that I ended up buying. They were the exact same car, exact same service. I'm sure the service that the others provided would be equally as good as the guy that got me on the phone, hopefully. But he just got there first. Like, he rang me sooner than someone I submitted my lead information 24 hours ago. And that's the same with, your clients on social media. If you're running a lead gen agency, or even an e-com and a lead gen agency, for your lead gen clients, and you're a landscaper, a dentist, a real estate agent, if that potential customer's triggered the dental pixel data, so they fall under dentistry in the Facebook advertising, they're also going to be seeing, every third post, another dental practice, another, orthodontist practice, or another landscaper. So and depending on how good the offer is for that business, they're probably going to fill in, multiple different online quotes, multiple different online consultations. So you need to get there first, to hone in on that offer. So that's step one, is making sure that the client rings them within 5 minutes to get that 92% answer rate. But that's not where it stops. You also need to make sure that they ring them multiple times. So what usually happens, guys, is for the receptionist is the person that calls all the leads that you're bringing in. You might bring in 10 leads a day, and they be really good leads. Like, that happens. Like, you're doing your part, correct up to a point. So you bring in those 10 leads a day, and what usually happens is that receptionist will sit down at 9 a.m. every day and call all the leads that have come in within the past 24 hours. So they won't be doing it, within 5 minutes. And they'll only call them once. So they'll ring all the people that come in the past 24 hours. Then the next day, the difference between the last call, whatever leads have come in since then, that's who they'll call. And that's not good enough, because say you don't do that 5 minutes, or even if you do call them within 5 minutes, there's still a strong chance that they get distracted, their kid runs in the room, or, an emergency happens in the household. If they're not ready to answer the phone then, it doesn't mean they're not going to be a customer. They might answer the next time you call them. And what I say to my clients is ring them up to 5 or 6 times. Don't ring them right now. They don't pick up, ring again. So they've got 5 missed calls within 10 minutes. Don't do that. Leave it, 2 hours a day, and just keep calling them back until you get a yes or no. Don't, bombard these people with calls. And if they say stop, obviously stop. But just give them chance to actually be able to answer the phone. Don't ring them once, 2 hours later, they don't pick up and say, it's a dead lead. And I'm not talking to you guys, because I'm sure you guys understand it, but this is just the way you need to portray the message to your clients. So if you're in this situation, and the reason why you're watching this video is because you've Googled how to keep my client for longer, or I'm about to lose my client because they can't convert their leads, this is the type of thing you need to do. Ring them up immediately after this video, providing the time of day is correct. Don't ring them at midnight and say, John, I know how to convert your leads, and just be a mess because he's asleep. But yeah, that's the kind of conversation you need to have, and show the graphs that I'm going to put up on the screen, and just make them aware. And all, if you've got a good relationship with your client and you're not kind of on the final thread because you've overpromised and just not got any money back into the bank, they will understand, and they'll move forward. So that's the half that's kind of the client's fault. And I don't want you to use the word fault in any of this explanation. It's just it's working out the process that works for every business. So that's the kind of the client side of things that you need to make clear to them that they've got intact. Then there's stuff that you can do on your kind of marketing follow-up side to help them and help you, because at the end of the day, the more money they make, the more money you make, because you keep them as a client longer, and the more referrals you get, etc. So how can you help your end, with that kind of strategy? One, you can give coaching calls to the receptionist, to whoever the person is calling. They might need sales advice. If you're selling high-ticket social media marketing services on meetings, on cold calls, and you've got a good agency, you're gonna have good sales, skills. So you can sit down with whoever the sales rep is for that business and help them out a little. That's like 30 minutes out of your day to really help you with your campaign and keep them on for longer. So now down to the actual strategies that you can implement. So how can we help them? How can we help the sales rep or the owner of the business contact the leads the quickest? So there's two ways. You can set up SMS text notifications to the business owner's personal phone. So as soon as a lead comes in, rather than it being emailed to them, they can get a text that says, John, new lead, this is his phone number, this is his email address, this is his inquiry of a little message that they might have submitted on the lead form. Click this button and call them right away. So, no matter where they are, if they're in the middle of a landscaping job, they see it, they get buzzed on their phone, they're more likely to answer to a text. You need to ask them, how would you best like to get notified? And a lot of the time, these clients will say, just send the lead on text and I'll be able to bring them instantly. So that really helps. You can also set up email notifications to the client. That's kind of standard. But then what you can also do is set up text message notifications and email notifications to the customer that's filled out the lead form. So they've submitted their lead form, and hopefully on the thank you page of the funnel or the lead form, you've said a member of the team will be in contact with you shortly, as well as prior to them actually submitting the form, so they understand the process that's about to happen. However, you can, as soon as they submit that lead form, you can send them a text. You can say, Susie, thank you for filling out your lead gen form. Here's our phone number. If you don't want to wait for us to call you, give us a call, get booked in, and make sure you claim the offer now before it's too late. So that way you're generating inbound inquiries as well as not waiting for the client to call them. And the client's going to love that because 90% of the time the client hates having to ring these leads. You can also set up an email follow-up sequence to the potential customer. So they get free emails over the next week or over the next 5 days, telling them the benefits of the product or service they've just inquired about, telling them, more details on the offer that they've just claimed, giving them more chances to maybe book online if the client has an online booking system. All of these different kind of call to actions you can squeeze in an email sequence. So over the next week, from them submitting their lead, they're seeing email, text, email, inbound phone call. So they're getting like 5 or 6 touch points instead of 0. So you're constantly in the back of their mind. So hopefully they pull the trigger within that week, because the longer you leave it from them submitting their lead information, the colder and colder that lead gets, because they're getting further away in a time sense from when their pain points were hit in the advertising material, whether it was the ad, the funnel, or video, or whatever it was. So hopefully there, guys, you've got SMS notifications to the client and to the customer, email notifications to the client and the customer, and make sure that the response time from the client to call these leads, as well as the number of times they call the leads, up to 5 or 6 times, that will all come together to massively increase the convertibility of the leads for your client. And I've seen this firsthand, like no matter how good your marketing is, you can bring in 25 leads a day for a client off a £10 a day budget, which would be insane for certain industries. But if they're not converting any of them, you could be bringing in 2,000 a day. But if they're not making any money, it makes no difference. And it's such a shame to waste all of those leads, all of your hard work, and all of the client's hard work to not be able to convert any of these leads and make them money and make you money. So just implement that stuff, guys, and see firsthand how the convertibility will increase, and it'll make your clients super happy that you're going way above and beyond for them to make them more money, and they'll really appreciate it, keep you longer, and give you referrals. So now that said, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Drop me a message below on the YouTube video, drop me a message on Instagram, which is Harry_SMMA. Message Tom on Instagram, which is Tom_SMMA, and we'll get back to you literally within an hour, because we always do. So hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Drop me a message, like I say, like, subscribe to the video, and we'll see you in the next one.